Even as the ocean alone exists when the word wave is deprived of its meaning, Brahman alone exists when the word creation is seen as meaningless. This creation is Brahman. Brahman alone is aware of this creation. Brahman is the sole awareness. There's only one awareness. There's no reason to assume there's more than one awareness. Awareness is awareness. That's it. When the word meaning of creation is dropped, the true meaning of creation is seen as the eternal Brahman. The world can be seen as something that we get lost in, or something that reflects our awareness back on itself. It's like a mirror. The world is like a mirror. We can either gaze into its reflections and get lost in all the reflections that are there, or we can use it to reflect back our true nature. When one inquires into the word Brahman, the all is comprehended. When one similarly inquires into the word creation, Brahman is comprehended. However, that consciousness which is the basis and the substratum for all such notions and their awareness is known by the word Brahman. When this truth is clearly realized, and when the duality of knowledge and known is discarded, what remains is supreme peace, which is indescribable and inexpressible. It's very important not to think of Brahman as a thing. In fact, it's best not to think of Brahman at all, but to examine our own attention, our own awareness. Look directly at the phenomenon of our attention. The attention is the secret, is the big secret. Shikadvaja said, if the Supreme Being is real and the world is real, then I assume that the Supreme Being is the cause and the world the effect. It seems that Shikadvaja still hasn't quite got it. Kumbha replied, only if there is causality can the effect be assumed. And causality is the basic mechanism of our storytelling. There has to be cause and effect in stories. One thing leads to another. There is no causal relationship between Brahman and the universe. Why should there be? Why should Brahman create the universe? Why should the complete, perfected one produce something? Whatever there is here is Brahman. When there is no seed even, then how is something born? When Brahman is nameless and formless, there is surely no causality, seed in it. Hence Brahman is non-doer, in whom causality does not exist. Therefore there is no effect which can be called the world. Brahman alone thou art, and Brahman alone exists. Brahman is all, everything is awareness. Everything is of the nature of awareness. When that Brahman is comprehended by unwisdom, it is experienced as this universe. When it's comprehended in a limited mode, then this is the universe. This universe is, as it were, the body of Brahman. It's the evidence of Brahman. It's what we look into. And in looking into it, we look into ourself, we turn back on ourselves, and then the truth is realized. When we turn back on ourselves, we turn back on our attention, we turn the attention back on itself, and then the truth is realized. When that infinite consciousness considers itself as other than it really is, that is said to be self-destruction or self-experience. Brahman is infinite. There are infinite modes. These infinite modes give rise to apparent diversity. These infinite modes are modes of limitation. And this is called self-destruction or self-experience. It will be the experience of an ego. That self-destruction is the mind. Its very nature is the destruction, veiling of self-knowledge. It's about limitation. Even if such self-destruction is momentary, it is known as the mind that lasts for a world cycle. And here we've got the meaning of world cycle. And it ties in with what I suggested previously. In chapter 96, Kumbha started giving a cosmological explanation, talking about the end of the world cycle. The world cycle ends whenever we turn our attention to itself, and so the world's destruction is momentary. It happens as soon as we give up the notion of the world. That's the end of the world cycle. A new one can kick in at any time. Such a notional existence ceases only by the dawn of right knowledge and the cessation of all notions. Since the notional existence is unreal, it ceases naturally when the truth is realized. When the world exists only as a word, but not as a real independent substance, how then can it be accepted as a real existence? Its independent existence is like water in the mirage. How can that be real? The confused state in which this unreality appears to be real is known as the mind. Non-comprehension of the truth is ignorance or the mind. Right comprehension is self-knowledge or self-realization. You can make lots of arguments for the existence of the material world. But why do you do that? What's your investment in that? It's not a philosophical position that we're trying to adopt here. We really are looking into how things are. And when you look into things, you begin to realize the notional nature of things. And once you realize their notional nature, we don't need to make such an investment in them as reality. We can drop it. We can embrace the notional nature of things. Embrace it from the realization of our essential identity, which is infinite consciousness, or consciousness which is infinite. Even as the realization, this is not water, brings about the realization of the mirage as mirage, the realization that this is not pure consciousness but kinetic consciousness, which is known as the mind, brings about its destruction. That kinetic consciousness is when the attention identifies with notions. It's a limiting mode of consciousness. When thus the non-existence of the mind is realized, it is seen that the ego sense, etc. do not exist. One alone exists, the infinite consciousness. All notions cease. The falsity which arose as the mind ceases when notions cease. I am not, nor is there another, nor do you, nor do these exist. There is neither mind nor senses. One alone is the pure consciousness. Nothing in the three worlds is ever born or dies. The infinite consciousness alone exists. There is neither unity nor diversity, neither confusion nor delusion. Nothing perishes and nothing flourishes. Everything, even the energy that manifests as desire and desirelessness, is your own self. And there's no point in trying to understand this from a conditioned point of view. This is simply reinforcing the understanding from the realization of pure awareness.